In the windswept silence of the Mongolian steppe, where the grass stretches endlessly and the sun rises slowly over the cold earth, a child was born into hardship. No palace, no armies, just the shelter of a felt tent and the howl of wolves on the wind. This boy would not inherit power, he would seize it. From blood, betrayal, and exile, he would rise to forge the largest contiguous empire the world has ever known. His name would be etched into history. His name, Genghis Khan. Temüjin was born around 1162, the son of Yesugei, a respected chieftain of the Mongol tribes. Due to his father's alliances and his family's position, his early years were marked by promise, but in the treacherous world of tribal politics, nothing was guaranteed. His father was poisoned by rivals, leaving his family alone, abandoned by their tribe and forced into exile. Temujin, his mother, and siblings were left to starve through bitter winters, scavenging for food and scraping by in a landscape that offered no mercy. But from that hardship, a fire was lit. Temujin learned that trust could be fatal, and power was the only thing he could rely on. He would not beg, he would endure, he would rise. When he was still a teenager, Temujin was captured by the Taichiud, who saw him as a threat to their own rule. They shackled him in wooden stocks, forced to kneel in the dirt before the fire, but his eyes never closed. He watched, he listened, he waited. One moonless night, under the cover of silence and stars, he escaped. It was more than an escape, it was a transformation. The boy in shackles fled into the darkness, but the man who returned wore no chains, not on his body, and never again on his spirit. He knew brute force alone would never unite the Mongol tribes. To change his world, he needed loyalty, not through fear, but through purpose. He needed to lead with vision, not just might. Temujin began forging alliances, not just with warriors, but with kings. He found powerful allies like Togrul, the Karate king, and stood hand in hand with Jamuka, his childhood friend. They became blood brothers, vowing to fight side by side. Together, they dreamed of a united Mongol nation. But in the world of wolves, loyalty is fleeting. Jamuka's ambition clashed with Temujin's rising power, and their brotherhood shattered. They met on the battlefield, not as friends but as leaders of rival visions. Temujin's army was unlike any other, disciplined, structured, organized into units of 10, 100, 1,000. This new structured system brought efficiency, speed, and deadly coordination. The chaos of tribal warfare met its match, and in that moment, something new was born. Not just victory, but the architecture of an empire. In 1206, the winds of the steppe shifted. Tribal banners fell to the earth, replaced by a single symbol, the soaring blue wolf. The chiefs and warlords knelt before Temujin. The fractured tribes of the Mongols were now one people under one leader. He was no longer just a man. He was Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. From the bones of tribal rivalry, a nation had risen. With the steppe unified, Genghis Khan turned eastward, toward the Jin dynasty and the walled cities of China. The Mongol cavalry broke through the Great Wall, unstoppable as the horde poured in at terrifying speed. Fires lit the skies over once great cities. But this wasn't blind destruction. It was calculated and methodical. Mongol engineers built advanced siege weapons, drawing from Chinese, Persian, and Arab knowledge. This was war by design. This was power wielded with precision. Far to the west, the Khwarezmian Shah made a fatal error. When the Khwarezmian Shah murdered Mongol envoys, he didn't insult a man. He provoked a force of nature. It was not a diplomatic blunder. It was a declaration of war. Genghis Khan did not forgive. He responded not with a letter, but with fire. City by city, his armies swept through the Khwarezmian Empire. No mercy, no survivors. He turned once vibrant metropolises into ash. It was vengeance carried out with surgical brutality. The wrath of Genghis Khan was not a legend. It was history written in ruins. As his armies pushed westward, they reached the lands of the Kievan Rus. At the Battle of the Kalka River, Russian knights in full armor fell to swift Mongol tactics. The steppe warriors outmaneuvered, encircled, and annihilated their foes. Europe, once confident in its distance, began to tremble. The whispers grew louder. Horsemen from the east were coming, and nothing could stop them. All things end, kingdoms, conquests, even the men who seem eternal. In 1227, on the Tangut frontier, Genghis Khan met his final hour. How he died remains a mystery, but his passing was hidden from the world. His body was taken in secret, buried without a grave, without a monument. Even in death, Genghis Khan remained untouchable. No shrine, no tomb, just silence. Yet his legacy endured beyond war. Mongol courts formed the foundation of governance. Merchants traveled safely along the Silk Road, their goods and ideas protected by imperial decree. Maps were drawn connecting east and west, trade routes flowing across Asia into Europe. Riders of the Yam postal system flew across the plains with messages that bound the empire together. He enacted the Yasa, a code of law that protected the weak, rewarded loyalty, and enforced order. Religions were tolerated, and knowledge was shared. The Pax Mongolica was born, a golden age where the world briefly moved as one. Today, statues stand in his memory. Children ride horseback across the same steppe he once ruled. 16 million people may carry his blood, but billions feel his legacy. Through new borders, laws, trade, and culture, he began with nothing. No army, no land, no name, and yet he changed the world. This is the story of Genghis Khan, the steppe's son, the world's conqueror, and the echo that still rides on the wind.